Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today we're comparing two very hot topic foundations right now. Not literally hot topic, you know what I'm saying. So this side we're doing the Kosas foundation and this side we're doing the Ilia True Skin Serum foundation. I'm also going to be using the coordinating concealers and powders to both of these products, and we're going to do wear tests, see how they compare, see how the formulas compare, because they have almost identical claims on Sephora, and it's going to be super interesting to match them up against each other. A ton of you have been asking me this and I hope you find it helpful. If you do, please don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe if you haven't already so you don't miss my next video. But without further ado, let's go ahead and get into this comparison. Let's go ahead and get started with this comparison video. I will start with the Ilia Foundation. So this is their True Skin Serum Foundation, which they did just reformulate and add more shades to their shade range, including this one. So this claims to have medium coverage, a natural finish. It has niacinamide in it. It's also a vegan formula. And the shade that I have is FF 1.75, which is described as very light with golden olive undertones. I was really excited to see that they have a fair olive shade. This is definitely too dark for me. Really good in the summer. I like the undertone, but it is too dark, so you'll see that once I apply it. I do wish they had an even lighter fair olive shade because I don't know, I don't feel like this is very light. It's kind of just like a light. They did also add, I believe, another fair shade, which is SF 0.25, which is extra light with light neutral. As I mentioned, I feel like if they had an extra light with olive, that would be my perfect match. So this is $54. You get 1 ounce in a glass bottle, and it also says on here there's niacinamide, allotonin, and aloe infused ingredients. I think those are the couple new ones they added. Just for comparison, this is what the old bottle looks like. This is also the old formula, and this was my old shade SF2 compared to the new shade that I picked up. I will swatch them momentarily. The Kosas foundation is lower in price. This is $42 and this is called their Revealer Skin Improving Foundation. This also has SPF 25 and it has hyaluronic acid and niacinamide. So both of them have that same niacinamide ingredient. This also claims to be medium coverage, natural finish, hydrating, clean at Sephora. It says good for dullness and uneven texture. This also has peptide, squalene, B5, arnica, and caffeine. So they do have very similar claims and similar like skincare based formulas as well. This is the lightest shade from the Kosas foundation. It's very light neutral, which is described as very light with neutral undertones. I actually find this has a bit of an olive undertone, so that's really good. I find this is a really good match for me, definitely better than the Ilia one. Here's the shade swatch. Starting over here is the Kosas foundation, which you can barely see because it's a really good match for me. This middle one is Ilia SF2, which you can tell is just too orangey, and then the last one is the new Ilia golden olive shade. It's very golden olive, that's for sure. It is too dark. I think in the summer this would be really nice. But those are the 3 shades for comparison. Hopefully it doesn't look too crazy to have like a darker foundation and then like a good match. We'll see about that. Wish me luck. So I'm gonna start on this side of my face with the Kosas foundation. Here's a look at the consistency. It's definitely more liquidy, but it does have some like thickness to it as well. It feels very like gel-ish, I would say. And I'm just gonna dot a little bit and I'm gonna just apply it with one side of my sponge just to start. This is the foundation I've been using literally every day. I'm really enjoying this formula. It's so good. You could just see like how quickly that covered my redness. It's very comfortable on the skin and has a really nice finish to it that's not too dewy but does give you like a really healthy look to your skin. And I prepped my skin the same. I just used a moisturizer and that was it. I didn't want to do a primer or anything, just to show you what the foundations look like on their own. Here's one layer of the Kosas. I will usually just use this much on a daily basis, but it is very buildable, so if I need more coverage, I feel like I could go in. But this is a very good, solid, medium coverage foundation, and it just covers everything I want it to. Looks beautiful, shade is great. Really loving this one. I get so many questions about comparing these foundations, and I do understand because they have super similar claims and ingredients. They're claiming to be medium coverage, have a natural finish, and they both have niacinamide and other skincare based ingredients. And they're just sort of in that same category of like a clean foundation. They're higher priced. the Ilia one is more expensive. But yeah, I really enjoyed the Ilia old formula in the past. This was my favorite foundation for a really long time. If you watch my channel then, you probably already know that. But let's go in on my right side with the Ilia True Skin formula. So here is the consistency of the Ilia one. I would say the Ilia one, they actually feel so similar now that I'm like touching them right after each other. Yeah, they have very similar consistency. I was gonna say the Ilia one is thinner, like a tad thinner, I would say. And then I'm just gonna use the other side of my sponge so we're not like mixing the formula. Then I'm going to blend this in. One thing before I move on, the scent. The Ilia one, I don't notice any scent at all, but the Ilia one does have this, like, I don't know how to describe it. Like, if you used Ilia's base products before, it's just that same scent. It's a little bit citrusy. Not really sure what it is, but it's a scent. I think it is a natural scent. It does not bother me. It does dissipate, but I always like to note that in case you are sensitive to fragrances and you would prefer something with less fragrance. Here's the Ilia side. It's clearly too golden, like it does not match my neck at all, whereas the Kosas side blends in a lot better. It's still not perfect because I do find that the Kosas one oxidizes a tiny bit. It becomes a little bit more orange, but not drastically. It's still a really great match for me, and this one's just like off to begin with, but I don't feel like the Ilia formulas oxidize. Here's the difference. I feel like the finishes are very, very similar. I think that the Ilia one is just like a bit more dewy. The Kosas really like sinks in and becomes this second skin type of look. Coverage wise, very, very similar. It's hard to tell because the yellow in the Ilia I feel like does tone out my redness a little bit more, whereas the Kosas one, you can still see like a little bit of my redness showing through, but like on my blemishes on my chin, they both covered them equally well. I'm very intrigued to see how these wear next to each other because they are super similar now that I'm putting them on next to each other. Another thing to note is I think the Ilia foundation has coconut alkynes in it, so if you're allergic to coconut or you have like fungal acne and that triggers it, this has coconut in it. I'm not sure if the Kosas one does. I did not see it in the ingredient list, but it could be a derivative that I'm not familiar with. You might have to look that up on your own, but that's another thing I wanted to point out. If you use a brush with both of these foundations, you could definitely get a little bit more coverage. I just like the finish with a sponge. It makes it super smooth and really easy to apply. So since we're also comparing concealers, this is the Ilia True Skin Serum Concealer with vitamin C. This is $30 and I got the shade SC.5, which is their second to lightest shade. Yeah, it's called Arrowroot, which is very light with neutral undertones. Claims to be medium coverage, satin finish. This is fragrance free. Vegan, clean at Sephora, and it has vitamin C in it. It says that it's buildable and ultra lightweight. This is also a product I've tried before. I just had repurchased this one. My other one is still in the old packaging. It's probably expired, but that one was the wrong shade, so I figured I'd try it out, see if I still like it. And then we have the Kosas Revealer. This one is $28, and I have a bunch of different shades of these. This is the shade 01, which is the second lightest shade as well. It's light with neutral peach undertone. They have a bunch of different shades of the Kosas one. They have expanded this concealer range. When they first came out, it was very yellow and pretty limited, so they did expand that, which is nice. I feel like in general, Kosas definitely has better fair shades in my opinion. I could always find something that matches me well, whereas Ilia, I feel like they run dark and I just wish they had more fair options. So this is also medium coverage and satin finish. Again, they're claiming the exact same things. Vegan cream formula. It says that it's a crease-proof, medium coverage, super creamy concealer. It also has those skincare ingredients in it: caffeine and pink algae, hyaluronic acid and peptides, and arnica and panthenol. Before we start, I already know I do not like the Kosas concealer under my eyes. Personally, it creases a lot on me, but I'm going to use it for this video just because I really just enjoy this for the face. It's very creamy and moisturizing. The Ilia one I do remember liking under my eyes, but I haven't used it in so long, so we will see. I'm going to put them on their coordinating sides. Let's start with the Ilia. The doe foot has this like double flat edge, so it sort of has a reservoir for the product, so it does pick up a good amount of product. And I'm just going to start with a little bit, and this is one, both of these concealers actually, I feel like work really well if you let them set a little bit. You get some more coverage out of them. So I guess we'll do both and then blend them. So this is the Ilia one, actually very similar wand where it's flat on both sides and sort of reservoirs the product. And let's try to do a very similar amount. Oh, let me swatch them for you as well. I think these are probably similar shades. This is the Kosas over here. It's a little bit more neutral, and then the Ilia one, a bit more like peachiness to it. They're very similar. And I'm gonna go ahead and blend out the Kosas side first. Here is the Kosas side, super easy to blend out. I do feel like the formula works very well with the foundation itself. I'm just gonna clean off my sponge and then use the other side of it for the Ilia concealer. And this mirror is so cute. This is from the new Trixie Cosmetics Katia collection. I had to have it. I've been wanting one of their mirrors forever. Again, super similar finishes. I do find that the Ilia one gave me more coverage. It just looks a little bit more canceled out darkness wise, whereas the Kosas one is a tad bit more sheer. I wonder if we should just go all out brand and do Kosas powder on this side, Ilia powder on this side, and just see. We could literally do a whole face if I wanted to. Now to set, I'm actually going to use the Ilia Soft Focus Finishing Powder on both under eyes because I don't feel like it's fair to compare a loose powder to a pressed baked formula. I think these are very different. We will use this on the face, but I'm going to go ahead and set both with the Ilia Powder, which is one of my favorite powders of all time. I've repurchased this so much. Really enjoy this from Ilia. If you haven't tried it already, give it a go. Before I set, I am also going with my finger to smooth out any creases. I always do this, so it's just only fair to do it now as well. So I went ahead and set the right side of my face with the Ilia powder. Now I'm switching brushes and I'm going to use the Kosas Cloud Set. This is the lightest shade Airy, so this does hard pan. Someone suggested in the comments that I use tape. Whoever did that, thank you, because it did actually work. I was able to remove some of it so it's actually usable again. And I think this powder, it's not my absolute favorite. It's really pretty, but the component is flimsy. It always breaks. I have some bronzers from them that broke. And then also the hard pan is really annoying. And I'm just using a big fluffy brush to set this. I don't actually think I've tried this combo with the foundation yet, surprisingly. Now that everything is set down, just looking at my skin, I do feel like the Ilia one, maybe it's just the powder difference, but it's very poreless. Whereas the Kosas one is just, there's a little bit more texture. I will say the Kosas has more of a natural skin glow to it. Maybe it's the powder because the Ilia one's matte and the Kosas powder wasn't. But everything looks really good right now. Nothing standing out. I'm not surprised because I do enjoy both of these foundations. I don't want to throw too many variables in, so I'm going to go ahead and finish up the rest of my makeup using these same products. And then I will come back, we'll do our first check-in, and then of course, see you back here later for my end of the night check-in. Just to start, it's 5 o'clock right now, so I mean, I stay up pretty late, so I will check in at the end of the night, but it's not going to be a super long wear test, but I feel like just enough to see how they wear compared to each other, so I will see you guys then. I'm back with the rest of my makeup on. If you are curious, I used the Colourpop Fade into Hue palette on my crease. The lid shade is this Colourpop Super Shock in Cheap Date, which it's so pretty. I think it's my favorite Super Shock. It's a gold, but it has both like antique gold and silver reflect in it, so it's just so like stunning, and it has this more like grungy vibe to it, which is what I was going for today. And then I used the Merit Beauty lipstick in 1990, which is this gorgeous red brown. I've been really enjoying these lipsticks. I also have the shade Baby, which is the perfect neutral pink. It's really hard to find a shade of pink that doesn't pull too warm on me, especially since I'm olive. That's a huge issue with mine, and this is one of the most gorgeous pink shades I've ever found, and the formulas are very balmy, so you can have it as a sheer tint of color, or you can build it up sort of like I did here. This is about maybe 1 or 2 coats, and they're extremely comfortable. If you like just super comfortable, satiny, like luxurious lipsticks, like this packaging is so good. I'm really enjoying these, and they go so well with the tinted lip oils. I could totally put on like taupe on top of this, but loving these. They're stunning. For the foundations, I'm not really noticing like a huge difference or preference at the moment, besides the shade of the Kosas one being a bit better. And like I mentioned, the Ilia side just seems a bit smoother in the Kosas side. They just have a bit more like heaviness looking, but they're very similar. We will see how they end up wearing next to each other. I'm gonna go ahead and insert a video clip I took on my phone of how it's looking. I usually do close-ups on my camera, but I feel like my camera washes everything out. So in this phone clip, you should be able to see more texture and what it's actually looking like in real life. So again, this left side is Kosas, and then on the right, we have the Ilia Foundation and Concealer. I would love to know in the comments below before you finish this video, what one do you think is gonna wear better, the Kosas or the Ilia? I'd love to know below. But yeah, it is past 5 o'clock now, and I will see you at the end of the night and check in on how it's wearing. I do have combo skin, so we'll see how it wears. I will have all of my other makeup details linked below, but I'll see you at the end of the night for my check-in. All right, I'm back and it's now 11:59, almost midnight. So the foundation has been on for quite a while now, and I've been wearing this hat, so let's see if transferred at all. I don't really feel like either foundation transferred off of my head from wearing that hat, so that's a good sign. Again, this is the Kosas and this is the Ilia. Starting with the concealer, I definitely like the Ilia side better, which I already knew I would because I don't like the Kosas concealer for under my eyes. It's just too creasy, like it just settles into my lines. I will go ahead and insert clips on my phone so you can see what I'm actually talking about. It doesn't look horrible, it just personally doesn't look good on me. Foundation wise, they look super similar. I will say this Kosas side is just a little bit more oily, and I'm not sure if that's the foundation formula or the powder that I use, because I do find the Ilia powder to be more mattifying, but definitely not like super oily. Like it kind of just looks very healthy. That's the difference I'm kind of noticing. The Ilia stayed more satin and very smooth, but the Kosas has more of this like skin-like glow to it. I also think that the Ilia sunk a little bit less into my smile lines, whereas the Kosas one is just a little bit more cakey there, which I'm used to because I've been using this foundation a lot. It's really hard to choose between the two. I think it depends on your ingredient preferences, but they are super similar, and the Kosas one is less expensive if that's a factor for you. It really also, I think, would depend on if you could find a good shade for you. For me, I think that the Kosas has a better shade, so I'll probably reach for this one more versus the Ilia one. Although it's kind of funny, once it blended out, it like kind of matched me pretty well. It's just a tad dark than what I would prefer. I actually do see a patch on my forehead of the Ilia one where it wore off. It must have been from the hat I was wearing, which in my experience with the old Ilia formula, I did find that it transferred if you did like sort of rub up anything against your face. So that might be a pro for the Kosas one, is that there's less transfer. They both feel pretty lightweight. The Kosas one feels a little bit heavier when you first put it on, but now they kind of just feel like nothing on my face personally. I think they're both really good options if you like natural looking, like just very light feeling, good for your skin makeup. So that was it for our update. I wish I came to more of a conclusion, but it just goes to show that they are very similar looks on the skin. They're similar formulas. Neither of them wear poorly, and I think they're both really great foundations. I would love to know in the comments below if you tried either of these foundations and what you think of them. But yeah, thank you guys for tuning in. All right, that was everything for today's video. I really hope you found this video helpful. Please don't forget to give it a thumbs up if you did, and subscribe if you haven't already. Thank you to all of you who are already subscribed and enjoy my content. But thanks for watching. I really hope you did find this video enjoyable to watch. Did I say that already? I don't remember. But yeah, thank you, and I will see you all in my next video. Bye.